All right. We're going to go ahead and get started this morning. Super excited. Whew. Our thoughts play a vital role in shaping our lives, but sometimes it's tough to keep our thoughts positive and constructive. So, what can we do to change our inner dialogue? Well, the answer is coming up after this. Hey there, and welcome to Dr. Charity TV. My name is Dr. Charity C. Campbell, better known as Dr. C, and I am a doctor of management, a multi passionate entrepreneur, and an organization development and leadership specialist who loves helping creative professionals unlock their full potential and create the life of their dreams. And in this live stream, in this video, I'm going to be sharing something very near and dear to my heart. Um, you know, I'm going to be sharing with you 7 practical ways that you can transform your inner dialogue and start living a more empowered life. So, if you're ready to make some changes, then stick around because this video is one that you do not want to miss. All right. And also, if you are watching the live stream, I want to say thank you so much for tuning in live and keeping the conversation going. If you are watching the replay, I want to say thank you for coming back and contributing comments and engaging and interacting just as if you were on the live. All right. Good morning and hello to you as well. All right. So here's a couple of questions for you that I want you to consider while we are going through our Monday motivation live stream. First of all, are you struggling with negative thoughts and oppressive beliefs? If so, you are not alone. Fortunately, there are actually many things that you can do to transform your inner dialogue and start living that more empowered life. And if you are new here, to DCTV, which is Dr. Charity TV, then let me go ahead and just advise you that I am a kingdom believer and an entre leader. So most times I do employ scriptures and quotes of positivity on my live streams. With that said, let's take a look at our scripture for today. So our scripture for today is actually coming from a different version of the Bible, is the English Standard Version, and it is just very, very, very simple. It says, "He who has ears to hear, let him hear." It's very simple. He who has ears to hear, let him hear. And that comes from Matthew 11 and 15. Now, I chose this scripture today because it's a powerful reminder that we all have the ability to transform our inner dialogue, but it's up to us to take action and make the necessary changes by keeping our ears open to the truth. Here's the thing, there are so many voices that will try to speak the wrong types of truths to you to get you to think otherwise. There are voices who have good intentions. There are voices who have they want what's best for you. There are voices who don't want what's best for you, and they just want to be nosy, or they just want to meddle, and they just want to add or contribute their feelings or fears. They want to impose those on you. And if you listen, if you allow your ears to take that in, you are going to feed yourself the negativity that does not belong in your sphere. You're going to feed yourself that negativity that doesn't belong in your sphere. So, how do you make sure that you protect your ear gates? You protect what you listen to. These voices that can contribute to negative self-talk, we actually allow them to fester in our minds. And one of my favorite motivational speakers, Tony Robbins, said that your mind is a powerful tool. Use it to your advantage. Use it to your advantage. Negative thoughts and oppressive beliefs can come from us can keep us from living our best lives. They can come from coworkers, they can come from colleagues, they can come from managers, supervisors, they can come from family, they can come from spouses, it can come from your community. And these negative voices, these negative influences can keep you from living your best life. But by using your mind to your advantage, you can start making positive changes that will impact every area of your life. Now, I'm going to bring this up on a much bigger screen in just a moment, but I want you to know that transforming your inner dialogue from negative to positive is easier said than done for some people. For some people, especially if you've lived a life where you've always seen the negative instead of the positive, whether in yourself, your situations, or in others, this transformation can actually be tougher than it is for someone who hasn't been a lifelong pessimist. However, not all hope is lost, because the good news is that you are the one in control of your thoughts, and your thoughts control your inner dialogue. But in case you need a few ideas on how to do this, be sure to stay tuned, because I'm going to tell you my top 7 ways that I personally put into practice to silence my inner critic and to transform my dialogue. So here we go to the very first one. Okay. The very first thing is, we've talked about this actually before in the past, is acknowledge the negative thought. You can acknowledge the thought, but don't give in to it. I'm going to say that again. Acknowledge the negative thought. This is helping you to stay out of denial. Okay. When we're in denial, we say, oh, I'm not thinking negative. Oh, no, you are. You're thinking negatively. For whether it's, from your own negative thoughts, or from something else or someone else, or from a situation, a hardship, a trial, whatever it is, you need to acknowledge the thought. Don't act as if it is not there. Okay. Acknowledge it, but don't give in to it. So many times we tend to give in to the negative thought, and then we wonder why we're struggling so much with positivity. We wonder why we keep attracting negative situations. It's because, as a man thinketh, so is he. That's biblical. What you think about is what's going to manifest. And so acknowledge the negative thought, but don't give in to it. The second thing is analyze the negative thought. Okay, so first we acknowledge it. We will, okay, it's there, right? We acknowledge it. Secondly, we analyze it. Is there evidence that makes this thought true? Is there evidence that actually says that, oh, this is a true thought? Or is there evidence that says that this thought is untrue? Is there evidence that says, hey, this is right, this is actually going to happen? Or is it evidence that says this is a lie? This is a lie. Don't give into it. Don't believe it. In either case, give yourself the same kind of encouragement that you would give to someone else. As you are analyzing the thought, give yourself the same type of encouragement that you would give to someone else, because you deserve that. You deserve that type of encouragement. Okay. The third way is to ask, so what? Ask yourself, how bad would it be if the negative thought was actually true? Sometimes the best way to deal with the situation is to confront it. What could you do to make change, or what could you do if it turns out to be true, right? If it turns out to be true, what could you do to change the outcome for the better? If that negative thought is indeed true, then what could you do to make it better? What could you do to make the outcome better? Don't rush through this part. Okay. After you acknowledge and you analyze, now I feel like this is also part of the analysis, right? It's like, okay, so what? So what if it's true? What can I do to make the outcome still work for my good? Take some time, break out that pen and paper. We talked about going old school with pen and paper, and then also using, if you're completely digital like I am. I do both, okay? Because sometimes I love the nostalgia of putting pen to paper sometimes. But hey, take a break out the pen and paper, Use your iPad, whatever you're going to do, or you can even take out the notes app on your phone and write the pros and the cons and the possible solutions. What are the pros of the thought that I'm thinking? If there's none, write all the cons. What's the cons that I'm thinking right now? Write them all down and then say, okay, what are possible solutions to help these cons transform into pros? What can I do to go from negative to positive? Okay, that's the third thing. The fourth thing, oh, I love it. Oh, I love it. The fourth thing is you ask, where is this even coming from? Is this my voice or is this from an outside influence? Where is this negativity coming from? Where is this fear coming from? Where is this poison coming from? Is it my voice? Is it from my own fears? Is it from my own situations? If is it, is it from my own negative influences or experiences that I've had in the past? Or is it from someone else? Is it from something that I've seen on TV and it's, I watch a series so much and I'm just like, oh my God, this is, man, this is a part of me. Oh, this is like my life. Is it coming from that? Or is it coming from someone who means well for you, but they're just so negative? I mean, seriously, you need to consider, where is this coming from? And then also weigh in whether or not the source is coming from even has the responsibility or the right or the influence to speak into your life that negativity. Why does what they say matter? Why does the approval matter? Consider that when it comes to your job. Consider that when it comes to, partnerships. Consider that when it comes to even family and communities. Consider the voice that is contributing to the negative talk, to the negative self-talk. Because if it doesn't carry any weight, then you need to let it go. If it's your voice, then you really need to let it go, because you're stopping yourself from living your absolute best life. Okay. So that's number 4. And number 5 is change the narrative. Oh, number 5. Let me tell you something. Number 5. Number 5 is something that I have actively worked on for the past decade of my life. And it is not easy. You have to tap into your confidence and change the narrative. Now, I know sometimes we throw out numbers like for the past 10 to 15 years, I've been doing. No, literally for the past 10 years, from 2012 to 2022, it has been one of the greatest struggles of my life to transform the narrative that I had already started creating. Listen to me. It is not easy to transform the negative into the positive when you are still dealing with the negative, when you are still living in the results of the negative. And for you to try and change it to become positive, listen, it is hard. It is hard to do. And even now, I'm going to be honest with you. Hello. Hey, Dr. Elo. Even now, he said, I finally got you live. Even now, it is so hard, y'all. It is so hard to go from, I was in young adult service yesterday, and we were talking about the transformation that happened between Jacob and Isaac, Jacob and Israel, how Jacob went, from being who he was and his nature, the trickster, the person that did all the things that he did. And then in the next chapter, as he had to go and meet up with his brother, the one whom he was afraid that was just like, yo, this dude is going to want to kill me because of all the bad blood. But the thing is, his whole nature was changed. His name was changed, but people still identified him with who he was, because the change happened, the transformation happened overnight. So people weren't even prepared for the new man. They even still was calling him Jacob in chapter 33, but the change from his name changed in chapter 32. The issue is sometimes people will only still see you as your Jacob. They will only still see you as your name until you have shown them that your nature has changed. And so over the past 10 years, I've literally had to change the narrative of my story, change the narrative of my profession, change the narrative of my life. And it is not easy to do. But that's why I'm sharing with you right now. When you have these negative thoughts that come into your mind, all of this negative self-talk, especially as professionals, for whatever reason, I don't understand why, but there are seasons and times when the imposter syndrome sets in. There are seasons and times where we don't show our value as much for whatever reason. Listen, it's real jacked up, okay? It gets real jacked up with professionals. And even with the degrees that we have, like I have 3 doctors up here, even with the degrees that we have, like sometimes it's just, it gets really, really crazy. And that negative self-talk really comes to haunt and torment you, the new you, causing you to forget, causing you to forget just how powerful you are. You have spent time in the transformation chamber, going from who you were to who you have now become. And unfortunately, everybody won't see the transformation. Everybody won't acknowledge or recognize the transformation. But it's even worse when your inner dialogue will not allow the transformation to become permanent. When your inner dialogue keeps taking you back to the old narrative, challenge it. Challenge it. Go back and ask, wait, so what? Where is this coming from? I've already changed. I've done the work to change the narrative. So why is my inner dialogue trying to take me back? And if you are surrounded by people who always try to take you back to who you were, that shows you that they didn't have the capacity, and they don't have the capacity to grow with you. If they're not changing and growing in their own journey as you are changing and growing in yours, and they want to keep pulling you back to the old narrative, then baby, I think you better let it go. Let it go. Because the people who really are called to this version of you, the people who are supposed to be in your life for this version of you, they're not going to try to keep you back. They're not going to try to keep, hey, you remember when, man, I remember when you used to do this. Why are we remembering? Why are we, especially if it's not healthy? I don't need to remember. I'm trying to move forward. I've done the work to change the narrative. And if you keep staying in my past, then obviously you can't go along with me in my future. If you keep contributing negative thoughts, that's why, again, we go back to the scripture, he that hath an ear, let him hear. What are you listening to? What are you listening to? That's going to impact the narrative that you are trying to create now. Okay. All right. Let's keep going, because y'all know I have university class coming up soon. My university students be waiting. Oh my God. Okay. So let's keep going. Okay. The sixth thing that you have to do, the sixth thing is you really have to transform that negative self-talk into positive affirmations. Now, if you've been rocking with me for over a year, you know that I constantly talk about positive affirmations. Instead of thinking negatively about yourself or your situation, baby, you got to flip the script and say the opposite of what your mind is saying. Instead of thinking, I'll never get out of this situation, I'll never be promoted, they'll never see my value, they'll never see my worth, I'll never get married, I'll never have children, I'll never become financially independent. You have to open your mouth and declare words of affirmation. Okay. I trust God that he's in control, and I choose to maximize the time that I have. I choose to move forward. I choose to make a difference. I choose to be different. Like I have the power to choose. You have to tell yourself that you have the power to choose. Going back to changing the narrative, you have the power to not only change your narrative, but to choose to continue building on that narrative. Now, before I move forward, before I move on to the seventh and final way, okay, I want to ask you, what are some ways that you can transform your inner dialogue that I haven't mentioned yet? Let me know in the comment section below, because I want to know. I'm sure I have educated people up here. I have leaders up here. I have informed, whether you're watching live or the replay. Let me know, what are some ways that you can transform your inner dialogue from negative to positive? that I haven't mentioned yet. And of course, if you are getting some value from this video, would you mind giving it a thumbs up and sharing it on social media? You know that this year I do have a goal to grow our DCTV community by helping multi-passionate entrepreneur leaders discover their purpose, unlock their potential, and make an impact. So if you know someone who can benefit from this content, please share it with them. Okay. Now I'm moving on to the seventh and final way. The seventh and final way, so we can get on out of here for class. But it is so simple. Lose interest in the negative. Lose interest in the negative. One strategy that works is developing a consistent habit of saying out loud, you know, I'm just not interested in feeling bad about myself today. I'm just not interested in feeling bad about myself today. I'm not interested in thinking negatively about my future. I'm not interested in hearing the negative on today. I'm just not interested. I don't have time for it. Okay. Oh, I love it. Exercise always works to transform inner dialogue. Yes. Getting that body moving. Are you kidding me? Absolutely. Absolutely. Romans 8:28, it is going to get good by looking into over 7,000 promises that God has made to his children. That's another way. That's another way. These are great ways to transform that negative inner dialogue to positive, to help transform that inner dialogue. Man, listen. And not only, you know, when I exercise, I actually like to listen to positive things. I'll either listen to an audio book that's usually with like professional development, or I'm listening to some music that's always going to get me lit. Like I'll be so hype in the gym. And it's one of the best things to do because it takes your mind off temporarily. It takes your mind off of that negative thought. It helps to, when you drown out that inner dialogue with something positive, right? And so this is also about, you know, losing interest in the negative. This is a form of empowered self-talk. When you say, I'm not interested in feeling bad today. I'm not interested in negativity today. I'm not interested in none of that on today, because it allows you to diffuse negative self-talk. The more you practice replacing your negative self-talk, the more equipped you'll be to reach your greatest potential. You know, practicing positivity isn't about disregarding the unfortunate nature of a situation, but instead it's actually about acknowledging that you will find a way around it. And trust me, you will. After all, you'll never become your best self if you are constantly beating yourself up or dragging yourself down. So listen, I hope that you have enjoyed this live stream on today. Thank you so much for tuning in live. And for those of you who watch the replay, you know, I love my replay community. I appreciate you all so much. I hope you'll connect with me on social media. It is everywhere at DrCharityTV, so that we can continue this important conversation and empower each other to reach our goals. Listen, I want to know, what are some things that you would like to accomplish? I'm taking a look over here at the time really quickly because, you know, class. But what are some things that you would really like to accomplish or achieve in your life this year? Let's work together so we can make them happen. And as always, my beautiful people, it's been such a blessing to motivate you on this very calm and peaceful Monday morning here in Guangzhou, China. If you need more fuel to flame your inner fire, please check out my playlist recommendation on YouTube somewhere over here. And I will see you all next Monday.